Well, this is the hour. We're going to take your phone calls now with Raymond Francis, author of Never Be Sick Again and also Never Be Fat Again. His website is linked up at coasttocoastam.com for you right now. We'll get into some simple first steps that you can take to start, improving the future of your health. And then we'll take your phone calls right here on Coast to Coast AM. And Raymond, before we go to phone calls, how about some simple first steps for people who are working? They're all over the place. What do you recommend to start improving the health?
Get rid of the processed foods. Start moving toward eating more fresh foods and fewer processed foods. The processed foods are low in nutrition, and they're high in toxins. What's the two causes of disease? Deficiency and toxicity. Mm-hmm. Here's the tragedy. 90 cents out of the American food dollar is spent to purchase processed foods.
90 cents?
90 cents out of every dollar is spent on processed foods. And processed foods are deficient and toxic. In other words, what you are purchasing is disease.
And do these foods include like sulfites and things like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're worse. It goes way beyond sulfites. It goes into artificial flavors, artificial colors, artificial preservatives, processing aids, artificial flavor enhancers. It just goes on and on and on. And plus all the toxins that are produced from the actual processing. And what you are buying is disease. So 90 cents out of the American food dollar is spent to purchase disease. Well, that's why we have so much disease. We're spending all of our money on it.
I have stopped eating white bread, pastas, potatoes, hot dogs. I've stopped all that. I miss them. I got to tell you, I miss them, but I don't eat them anymore.
Well, I don't eat them anymore either, and I don't miss them. And look at the health that I'm in. How many people my age in America can say that they're in perfect health?
No, not a lot.
Most of them are on a half a dozen drugs at least. And how many of them have a mind that is sharp as a tack, boundless energy, never ever get sick? You don't have to worry about getting sick if you're healthy. The only people who get sick are sick people.
You can be around sick people and not get sick.
Well, let me
because
give you
your
an
immunity's
example.
so built up.
2 years ago, I was invited to give a speech. I speak all over the world. I was invited to speak in Athens, Greece. I was coming home from Athens. There was a leg from Brussels to New York. It was a 7-hour leg, Brussels, New York. I sat next to a man on that plane who had one of the worst colds in the world. I mean, this man was suffering. He was really suffering. He sneezed his way to New York, and I sat next to him for 7 hours. I bet half the people on that plane came down with a cold.
Probably.
I didn't. I don't expect to, because I'm healthy. The only people who get sick are sick people. When you make yourself sick, when you disturb the balance in your cells, you will become vulnerable to infection. And so we think the germs cause disease. They do not. Germs do not cause disease. We weaken our immunity, and then the germs will cause disease. We have to do that. Keep your immunity strong, you'll never get sick.
Your books, where do you get them?
At Barnes & Noble, regular bookstores, Amazon.com, or you can get them from BeyondHealth.com as well.
Excellent. Let's go to the phones. An hour left of calls with you. Brian in Ohio, east of the Rockies. You're on Coast to Coast. Welcome to the program. Hi, Brian.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure thing.
Yeah, I have a couple follow-up questions to the first one, but I just wanted to ask real quick if he's familiar with stevia.
Yes, I am.
Okay. My two questions about that is you talked about the diet pops, and I love my pops. I drive a lot, but I've switched at home specifically to stevia. I get it in bulk quantities from Canada, highly refined, 80% of the herbicides, I think they call it. My first question is the refining of that to that point an issue with that? And my second question is as to do with the pops. They came out just a while back with this product called Truvia, where you could get it, in the store as like a packet. I haven't heard anything about it since. And then Coke had talked about that being their new sugar, new sweetener, and I haven't heard anything about that. I know Monsanto was stopping it at every chance they could get, making all these claims about it, and so I don't know if that's a big thing. So I won those two questions. I have a quick story, funny thing about a warning about it. If you get it in bulk, the last time I got some, I get it about a pound, and I had actually was in Canada for another reason, and flying back, I had it in a duffel bag, and apparently stevia, highly refined stevia, has the exact same consistency and look of cocaine.
Oh,
oh dear!
Oh, you don't want that.
The officer tested it, and after that stuff is so sweetened, about choked him. So anyway,
he had to check it.
In moderation, it's okay to do that, but you're buying it in bulk. It almost sounds like you're using too much of it, and there are indications that if you use a lot of it, it can cause some problems. So use it in moderation. And other than that, there isn't an artificial sweetener out there that is safe to use. So basically, don't use them, and you don't need them. I mean, I don't really crave sweet anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. I'm just off of it.
I use something called Just for Sugar, which one of our guests recommended, because it's made with chicory. What do you think of that, Raymond?
It may be all right. I'd have to look at the other ingredients and look at what they're actually doing. I'm not familiar with the product per se.
Okay. Let's go to Steve in Iowa. You're up with us on Coast to Coast. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, George. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Hey, it's great to get in. Thanks for taking my call. Ray, I was just wondering, actually kind of a two-part question. Just wondering about the diet part as far as the thyroid. If someone has a low-active thyroid, is it possible to lose weight?
Yes, it's still possible to lose weight, but you do have to get the thyroid. You see, again, the thyroid is a problem, and it's malfunctioning. So you've got a lot of malfunctioning cells that are concentrated in the thyroid, and you have to start addressing that. One of the major reasons the major reason for all thyroid malfunction, whether you have hypo or hyperthyroid, is an iodine deficiency. And so, have you been measured for your iodine levels?
Well, I've been the blood test and the synthetic, thyroid, but it seems like I still can't lose weight. I get the puffiness in the face.
Well, yeah, but again, you see, it doesn't sound to me like you have been properly measured for iodine. There's a probability here that your entire problem is based on an iodine deficiency, and if you had sufficient iodine, the problem would go away.
I didn't ask you about getting medical tests, blood tests and things like that, Raymond, to, get some good chemistry. Do you recommend that?
Yes, I do recommend it. Unfortunately, most doctors don't do the proper testing. And indeed, here's a man who has a thyroid problem, and it sounds like he has not been properly tested for iodine. So you see the level of ignorance there. This is the number one thing you would do. Instead, what they do is they prescribe medications, and that's what modern medicine is all about. It's about suppressing the symptoms of disease with drugs and surgery instead of looking for the cause of the problem and addressing the cause. And in this case, the cause may be an iodine deficiency.
What would you like? I'm sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead, sir.
What would you like everyone to walk away from tonight, listening to this program? If you had one major message, Raymond, you wanted them to take away with them, what would it be?
That would be, you don't have to be sick. You do not have to be sick. You do not even have to have a cold. And that you have control over this. You can learn how to exercise that control, and then how to live a very long, very healthy life. And here I am in my mid-70s. I am living a very, very healthy life. And let me tell you, the quality of life is just fabulous because I feel so young. I feel like a 20-year-old. I mean, my arteries are age 25. That's how I actually feel. That's a high quality of life. and that's what you've got. All you have to do is learn how to make sure that your cells are operating properly, and that's why we have this simple system. 1 disease, 2 causes, 6 pathways. You can learn how to master deficiency and toxicity on each of the 6 pathways, and it's fairly simple. And once you do that, you're on your way to good health. So that's what I want people to come away with is, everybody thinks that the disease is going to happen because they look around them and everybody's sick, so it's going to happen. It doesn't have to happen. That's what I want people to take away with them, and that's a great message.
Let's go to Phoenix, Arizona, west of the Rockies. Hey, Virgil, welcome to the show. Go ahead.
Hey, Bene. Good morning, everybody.
Hi there.
Yes, I got a question. Actually, this question here pertains to my following question. I want to know if you guys know where the biggest nuclear accident in the United States took place.
Is this a quiz?
Well, no, it's not a quiz because it pertains to a health question I have.
Was it 3 Mile Island?
No, it happened east of Gallup at a place called Church Rock, on near the Navajo Reservation.
All right. Did something happen there?
There was the whole southwest area. Up in that area is where the military backbone of our nuclear weapons was built upon.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there's like mine tailings everywhere, and they had a large spill there where a river overflowed, and it sent several thousand tons of uranium minerals into little valleys there, and still highly radioactive today. And you're not allowed to go into those places. My question is all right, the people out there are exposed to uranium, basically, some of them on a daily basis. We have lots of cancer going around about it.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Well, there are ways you can protect yourself from the radiation, and that's with having a very good supply of antioxidants. The radiation causes oxidative damage, and antioxidants help to prevent and to work with that damage. So lots of vitamin C, lots of vitamin E, lots of CoQ10. You need especially to take care of your DNA repair because you're doing a lot of DNA damage. You have to keep your DNA repair system really operating at peak efficiency, and that means adequate amounts of vitamin B12, adequate amounts of vitamin B6. But again, you see, Americans are short all of these things. But if you live in one of these areas, you really need to be on one of those programs. But as bad as that is, here's the worst problem. The biggest single source of radiation damage to the American people is medical X-rays. And we've got to stop that nonsense. More than 90% of all X-rays are not medically justified.
Even dental X-rays,
exactly, right? Not medically justified, and there is no safe level of radiation. Radiation is the one thing that we absolutely know for certain causes cancer. There is no safe level of radiation. In fact, the technicians who work in the hospitals, who work with the radiation, work with the X-rays, radiologists, they all have higher rates of cancer than the average population. So, this is really crazy. And radiation, John Goffman, who is one of the top experts in the world on radiation damage, he was a medical doctor and also a nuclear physicist. He estimated about 80% of all breast cancer is partially being caused by X-rays.
What do you recommend for a multiple vitamin? Should people take one?
Yes, they should take one. Unfortunately, most of them are junk, and that's why I make my own. It's called the Beyond Health brand. There's really only about 4 dozen people in the entire country that know how to put a vitamin pill together and make it work, and I'm one of those people. It's a very, very esoteric chemistry. Nobody learns it because there's no reason to learn it. You don't make any money if you learn it, but I do it because it's my passion. But making a vitamin pill that actually works is an extremely difficult task.
Well, you have to make sure too that you're getting the right ingredients from the right places, right?
Exactly. That's a big part of it. What you need is bioidentical molecules. You need molecules that the body actually uses, needs, and wants. And that isn't what happens. Almost all the vitamins on the market are synthetics. And when you synthesize these molecules, you actually end up with molecules that are not bioidentical. They're not exactly the same. Usually the shape is a little bit different. The chemical formula may be the same, but the shape is different. I'll give you an example. Vitamin C. Almost all the vitamin, people need vitamin C. I take 16,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. Linus Pauling took 18,000. And that's one of the reasons I'm bulletproof and I don't get colds. But in any event, almost all the vitamin C in the world today is made in China. They're not making it correctly. And when you synthesize vitamin C, you get two molecules. You get what we call D-ascorbate. You get what we call L-ascorbate, about 50-50 of each. The L-ascorbate is the biologically active molecule. That's what the body uses. The D-ascorbate is actually an irritant to the body. So you're spending $1 and you're buying 50 cents worth of something that irritates the body. But then it goes downhill from there, because unless you are very scrupulous during the manufacture to exclude all oxygen from the system, what will happen is you will oxidize the vitamin C, and oxidized vitamin C is a free radical. And I've seen formulas out there that are as much as 25% free radicals. You take a heavily, heavily advertised brand, Ester C. Ester C is 10% free radicals. So what are you buying? You need to buy a vitamin C that is 100% L-ascorbate, 100% fully reduced, in other words, no oxidized vitamin C, and also one that is not made from corn. I actually make the highest quality vitamin C in the world.
How do you know that?
Because of the chemistry.
I mean, do you have to go through any rigorous testing? Does the FDA look at you folks?
No, the FDA doesn't look at it, but I look at it.
Not yet. They're trying to, though, aren't they?
My passion is quality, and of course I take 16,000 milligrams of this stuff a day, and I want to make sure I'm taking the best, highest quality available. It is the highest quality vitamin C in the world. It's the purest. We give it to people who are chemically sensitive, and they come back over and over again, and they say, this is the only vitamin C I've ever been able to take, because it's so pure.
Well, remember the old saying, Raymond, you are what you eat, so stick with us. We'll come back in just a moment on Coast to Coast AM with final phone calls. Let me give you the names of his two major books, Never Be Sick Again. The other one is Never Be Fat Again. His website linked up at coasttocoastam.com right now, beyondhealth.com. Our special guest has been Raymond Francis. We'll be back with him and final phone calls in just a moment on Coast to Coast AM as I broadcast live from WOR in New York City. Well, on our next Coast to Coast program, Richard C. Hoagland joins us as he talks about disclosure, and then Tony Schaefer joins us. We'll be talking about Project Able Danger and how he claims bureaucrats are weakening our national security. And when we come back, it's final phone calls with Raymond Francis as we talk about Never Be Sick Again on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. I'm George Norrie. Raymond Francis, our guest. Raymond, these calls just keep rolling in for you. What's the first thing you would do to start changing your health around?
I think one thing that anybody can do is to start cutting the sugar out of their life. Sugar is a deadly, deadly metabolic poison. The body was never designed to handle refined sugar. We could do a whole show on just what happens to you when you eat 1 teaspoon of sugar.
What happened to that old song, just a teaspoon of sugar?
Yeah, just a teaspoon of sugar will cause so much wreckage in your body. It's like a 100-car pile up on the freeway. So you don't want to go there. And I had someone call me on my radio show once. He said, if I'm going to do one thing, what should I do? So he's obviously willing to do something, but only one thing. Get off of the sugar. That'd be the one thing to do. But get on a good vitamin supplement program. And by the way, if your listeners are interested in the details, and some people are and some people aren't, but if you care about the details, I wrote a 15-page report on supplements that is filled with insider information you will not get in elsewhere. And it's on my website absolutely free. You just go to beyondhealth.com, and click. There's a button up at the top that says Free Reports. Just click on that, and then one of the free reports, the one you download them both, but especially one that says the roadmap to choosing supplements. Because if you go in a vitamin store, it is bewildering. You need a roadmap to know what to select. And this thing is called the Roadmap to Choosing Supplements, filled with insider information that's taken me decades to learn. So it's
great information.
And it's free of charge.
Let's go to New York. Rick, you're with us on the wild card line. Go ahead, Rick.
Hey, George. Thanks for taking my call. Great program, by the way.
And it's great to
Raymond,
be in your
you sound
city,
like a kindred soul, sir. I've been doing this stuff for about 20 years now. I've got a liver problem and have had it for over 30 years. And, mid-60s, 31-inch waistline, 150 pounds, ride a Harley. And most people peg me for around 40. But I'm curious about a couple of things. Before I ask a question, I just wanted to know, with vitamin C, have you ever heard of a product called Ultra Absorbic C?
I haven't heard of that particular brand, but there's a lot of vitamin C gimmicks out there.
And this is stuff they give cancer patients. It's by Bioimmune Incorporated in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a liquid.
Not familiar with it, but it doesn't. Just because they give it to cancer patients doesn't mean it really works. I've been through the gamut on vitamin C, and as you know, I've spent the last quarter century studying this chemistry, and right now I'm producing what I believe to be the highest quality C in the world.
I definitely want to look into that.
And there's a lot of gimmicks out there, and they'll tell you this and tell you that about absorbability, and but it's all marketing hype.
Yeah, what do you think about life extension?
They're good. They're very good people, actually. But the execution on it's very spotty on their supplements.
Yeah, I agree. You have to be careful. The question I wanted to ask you, though, like George was asking you about cleaning out the arteries, and you said, kind of vaguely, diet, exercise, and everything. I was wondering if you could give some of the specifics of what kind of a diet you advocate,
Well, food.
I know.
Diet of food. The problem is that we eat processed foods, which are not food. That's garbage. So fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's what you need to do. And then you need to be on a good supplement program. Heart disease, clogged arteries. Heart disease is basically a vitamin C deficiency disease. So giving yourself adequate amounts of vitamin C helps very much in the repair process. Then there are other things. I also take some amino acids, lysine and proline. They're like a roto-rooter, and they help to take the gook out of the arteries. So there are supplements and diet, and then the body takes care of itself. It just automatically does it all.
Raymond, we've been recommending turmeric for people. What do you think?
Good stuff. But, again, you need good quality stuff.
That's important.
Yes. In fact, I sell a curcumin product that's a very, very high-quality product.
Do you think your chemistry background has helped you with this?
I couldn't do it without the chemistry background. In fact, without the chemistry background, I'd be dead.
Well, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it's my chemistry that kept me alive, and I used it at the last moment and took control of the situation. And I was at the point where I was lying in bed, and my neck hurt me, And so what I wanted to do was to move my head, adjust my head so the neck would be more comfortable. And so I gave my head the instruction to move, and it would not, and it could not. That's how far gone I was. I couldn't even move my head. And within 36 hours, I was able to sit up in bed. How did I do that? I took some vitamin C.
And ever since, you've watched what you eat and what you ingest.
Yes, and I learn more and more now with the cancer book that I've been writing. I just learn more and more. In fact, whole new insights with the cancer book. I mean, entirely new insights. I tell people don't eat white flour. The truth is, what I've just learned is don't eat wheat. Wheat is a very dangerous poison, and it will make you sick, and it will give you cancer. Get off of the wheat. Get off of the sugar. Get off of the wheat. Get off of the milk. Get off of the processed oils. Cancer is a deficiency disease. Heart disease is a deficiency disease.
What do you think? What do you think of olive oil?
Olive oil is excellent, but it's very difficult to obtain. So I make my own and sell it. And I wrote 2 articles on this, by the way, and the first one I think was published in 1998. The BBC picked up on it, and I was on a worldwide broadcast on the BBC, and then Peter Jennings' ABC News picked up on the BBC broadcast, and they sent a film crew out to film me, but they're still doing it. There's very little real olive oil available. Most of it is adulterated. It's a scandal. But unfortunately, it falls through loopholes in the law. It's very difficult to get real olive oil, and I make real olive oil.
What do you think of organic apple cider in a tablespoon a day?
Well, I know that's been recommended, and I don't have anything to say against it, and indeed, it probably can be quite useful for a lot of people.
Okay, next up, let's go to Riverside, California. Vince, you're up with us on Coast to Coast. Hi, Vince.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys.
Sure
I just had 1.5 questions. The first one is, I kind of started that blood type diet, and I did notice some improvements, but I wanted to ask Mr. Raymond if he felt there was any validity to that, and what your blood type actually means, if anything, to your immunity. And then the other quick question was, ever since I had mono in high school, I haven't gotten my energy levels back, and I wanted to know what you recommend as far as maybe restoring that. And then I'll take my question off the air, sir.
Okay.
Well,
first of all, with the let's go to the immunity first of all, and the rebuilding the liver is. I've rebuilt my liver. Here, my liver was dead, and that's why I was dying. I have rebuilt my liver. I can drink, for example, I don't drink a lot of alcohol, but literally I can drink as much alcohol as I want, and it doesn't bother me because my liver has been completely rebuilt. Vitamin C, you need to support your liver detoxification. So the liver is your detoxer. It's your filter, and so first of all, you've got to stop putting poisons in. And so if you read Never Be Sick Again, there's a whole chapter on where toxins are and how to avoid them. You've got to stop putting the toxins in so you take the load off of the liver. Then you've got to support the liver with all of the chemicals it needs for its detoxification. And there you need to get into vitamin C, for example. A lot of vitamin C helps and then you can go in and give it things like silymarin, which are also very helpful to the liver function. So stop putting toxins in, so give the liver a rest. Give it all of the chemicals it needs in its detoxification, and there, vitamin C, things like broccoli, very, very useful for liver detoxification. And what you'll do is you'll take enough pressure off of the liver that it'll begin to repair and rebuild and detoxify, and it's just a miracle when that happens. So,
Raymond, how many people would actually say, "Gosh, he's right"? And I'm going to do this immediately. I'm going to start right now. I'm going to change my pH level. I'm going to eat the right foods. I'm going to take the right supplements, and I'm going to do this. What % of people do you think will do that?
Hard to say. I deal with people who, when I speak around the world, people come to hear me because they're motivated. And those people who come because they're motivated is a very, very high percentage that actually goes off and does good things. People that read my book, a very high percentage of people that actually do good things. If we're just talking to the general population, it's probably a fairly small percent.
Yeah, I would say that too. Russ is in Michigan. Welcome to the program. Go ahead, Russ.
Hello, George.
Russ? Yeah, hi. Go ahead.
Dr. Francis?
Yes.
2 questions, Dr. Francis. The hype surrounding the acai berry lately, is that legitimate, the health benefits of it? And secondly, is a low to moderate dose of anabolic steroids in a somewhat healthy person, along with healthy diet, supplementation, and exercise, as harmful to the body as the government and society would paint it to be nowadays?
Okay.
All right. And I don't think you're a Raymond, a Dr. Raymond. You are a Raymond.
Well, I am a doctor, actually.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I have a doctor's degree in naturopathy, but I don't toss titles around because I don't believe in titles.
Yeah, I did not see it on your bio at all. So you don't push that.
What I think is what people know is important. It's not their titles. Bill Gates is one of the richest people in the world. He didn't graduate from college. So you don't have to have degrees to be smart, and I've met too many people with lots of degrees that can't think their way out of a paper bag. So, but in any event, this whole berry thing, berries are very good. They're good foods. Blueberries, raspberries, all these other they're good foods. But what's happening is people are jumping on these things and turning them into products. And by the time you do that, you've destroyed most of the goodness. And not only that, a lot of times they become moldy before they're being processed.
Oh, I hate that.
You get mycotoxins. You
go get a box of blueberries, and you got that.
Yep, exactly. And it'll kill you. It'll give you cancer. I mean, those toxins, those mycotoxins, they're carcinogenic. So basically, I think most of this whole berry stuff, no matter what berry you're talking about, is just a lot of hooey. And then they have all these juices, but all these juices are all pasteurized, and so what are you doing to them? Eat the berries if eat the fresh berries, but very importantly, get on a good supplement program. If you're going to spend your money on a good supplement program, because what you need to do is give the cells, they have a grocery list, you need to give them that grocery list every day. So forget about all the peripheral things. Worry about the food that you're eating. Worry about the quality of the vitamins and the supplements you're taking, and make sure you're giving the cells everything they need every day. And then if you want to care about noni juice or something like that, or go ahead, but don't do that first. Do that later, because you need to take care of the basics first. If you take care of the basics, the cell will work correctly, and you don't need anything else. Now, he had another question. What was the second part of
this?
Steroids. Don't do it. Don't do it. The hormones, you have to understand what hormones are. They're part of the body's communication system. They are messenger molecules, so they go around the body giving messages. If you have too much sugar in your blood, the insulin goes around, knocks on the cell's door, and says, please take up the sugar because we have too much sugar. They give a message. They give messages to genes. The whole hormone system of the body is very delicately balanced to the point where really homeopathic levels, we're talking infinitesimal amounts here, homeopathic levels of hormones will give messages to genes. So when you start taking a hormone, you're taking a lot of molecules, and you can very easily upset the entire hormonal balance in the body and come out with some very bad results, including cancer. So not something I recommend, not something I would do.
Let's go to Livonia, Michigan, and we'll get you in, Pete. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Pete from Livonia. How you doing?
Great.
Good, Pete.
Good. Yeah, on March 25th, I spoke on this program. I'm 52 years old, just about 52 in a month. 30 years with bipolar disease, and I stated on March 25th that I was about to go off medication. On April 1st, I went off medication. My medical professionals told me I would crash. In May, they told me I would crash. In June, they told me I would crash. On August 30th, I checked out of the clinic with their blessings.
Good for you. And you never crashed, did you, Pete?
I never crashed, and I think your book will be the final, give me the final tune-ups for everything I've been doing for 30 years, mind, body, and soul that I've been doing.
Now, see, here we go, Raymond. There's that one case, that one person that you're looking for who's going to try to do it the right way.
Absolutely. And let me give you a couple examples.
We've got a minute left. Go ahead.
One man came to me. He had untreatable depression for 8 years. He was suicidal a good part of the time. I got him off of sugar, gave him a zinc supplement, and in 48 hours he was cured. Untreatable depression for 8 years, suicidal, miserable life. I had another lady, untreatable depression for 30 years. Suicidal, couldn't get out of bed, just a mess, 30 years worth of hell. What I found out was she had a cerebral allergy to gluten. We got her off of all gluten, and within days she was cured, the happiest person in the world. So
that's fantastic. Never Be Sick Again. In this book, you read it, you get the points you need to do many of the things you just told us tonight?
Absolutely. It's all in the book. It's all about this very simple system, 1 disease, 2 causes, 6 pathways. It tells you how to master that system. All you have to do is do it, and you're on the way to good health.
Super. Thank you so much, Raymond Francis. His website, beyondhealth.com. Go there. There's a free booklet up there, too, he wants you to pick up to read up on supplements, which I would highly recommend. Those of you in New York, John Gambling Show comes up in just about 30 minutes, so don't touch your dial on WOR. And I want to thank everybody in the Big Apple. Gracious folks. We'll be back. For Dan Galante, Tom Danheiser, Jason King, Gina Salvati, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladouceur, Stephanie Smith, at WOR, Ed Levy, Tony Atwood, Ross Mitchell, George Knapp, Ian Punnett, and Art Bell. I'm George Norrie, somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. I'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe, everyone.